Hello everyone. In today's lesson, we're going to be going over Kali Linux services. More importantly, we're going to be going over starting and stopping services. Those services are HTTP, SSH, and PostgreSQL. This is going to be a relatively quick video. So HTTP is important because it's going to allow you to host your own web server. You're going to notice there's going to be a lot of times in the labs where you're going to hold your own exploits or your own scripts on your web server, and you're going to use them to gain access to another machine. SSH is going to be important because it's going to allow you to SSH to and from your machine. And PostgreSQL is important for Metasploit mainly. We're going to get into that more in a later video, but I'm going to show you the reason of its importance in this video. So if we go ahead and go to our Kali machine, the first thing I want to do is type in ifconfig, and let's copy our IP address. Now let's go ahead and go into our browser. Let's enter that IP address. And you should see that we already have Apache 2 running. I've set this up. So for you to have this working as well, what we're going to do is we're going to say service Apache 2 start. So now if you go back and you try it again in your web browser, your IP address, you should have an Apache 2 homepage like I do. So in order to make this permanent, what we can do is we can say systemctl enable Apache 2. And by permanent, I mean that this is going to load the setting every time that your computer loads. So you don't have to worry about coming in and starting the service every time. It's quite convenient. So now that we have our service started, if we wanted to stop the service, we could say service Apache 2 stop. And most likely if you go into your web browser and you try refreshing, there you go. So you're going to see that you no longer have a connection to this page. This is probably what it looked like the first time you tried loading it up. So just for proof of concept, we'll say start again, come back, hit refresh, and there's our home page. So all of our files for HTTP are stored in the directory of var www/html. So if we come in here and you ls, you should see an index.html and this other index, Debian.html. I went ahead and put a test.txt in here. If you cat the test.txt, just so shows you that this is a text. I just wanted that for a proof of concept as well. So if you come in here and you say test.txt, you can see that this is a test. So when you're going to go store any of your exploits or files on your web server, this is the location of where you're going to store it. Later on, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about using Python as a web server as well. So sometimes you run into issues with Apache where we can use Python, but we're not going to cover that right now. So the next thing we're going to cover is going to be SSH. So I'm going to cd back to the home directory. And it's the same concept here. If you say service SSH start, and then we can netstat ANTP, and we can grep, which is searching our output for SSH. Okay, so we can see now that SSH is running on our machine. This is good. We want it to always be on. So again, to have this load on start and not have to worry about it, systemctl enable SSH. Okay, so the last one I'm going to show you is PostgreSQL, and that is mainly with Metasploit. So in order to access Metasploit, you say msf console, and it's going to take a minute here to load. And while it's loading, I'm going to explain PostgreSQL to you. So PostgreSQL is the database for MSF console. It's going to store information. It's going to make searching a lot faster. It's going to make running exploits a lot faster. So for example here, if we want to search for any exploits, we just say search SMB. We're seeing that module database cache not built using slow search. It's doing that because we do not have PostgreSQL enabled. So if we sit tight here for a minute and we just see how long the search takes, it's going to take a little bit. And when you have PostgreSQL enabled, it's a lot faster and it's a lot cleaner. So this enables a lot of things in here that you're not going to see when we come back and we search again. So I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to say service PostgreSQL start. Going to load back MSF console again, and we're going to try searching again. We may get the database being slow the first time around that we search, but usually it builds it on the first try, so we'll see what happens here. So let's search SMB again. Okay, so the cache isn't built yet, but now that we're searching, it should slowly build up over time, and you're not going to ever notice this again once you have your Postgres running. So I'm going to Control C, because I'm not going to worry about it right now. This is just something for you to know. So if we exit out, again, I recommend doing a systemctl enable PostgreSQL. Oops. Okay, we'll do that. And that is it for this lesson. Just wanted you to get those services started, and that way we don't have to worry about them for the rest of the class. That is it for my lesson. My name is Heath Adams, and thank you for learning with me.